Okay, before we move on to page 5, did you have any questions from the homework? Not why we had homework, questions about it. Nobody has questions from the homework? Okay, well if nobody has questions, let's go to page 5. Yes, Cole?
1, 2, wait. Very good, 34,
No.
36.
Alright. Multiplying binomials. Find each product. What does it mean when you have r minus 7 squared? Right, that means there's 2 of those sitting there. Okay, when something's squared, it means there's 2 of them. You multiply it by itself. So now that I've written it out like that, what do I have to do to multiply it? Distribute. R times r is r squared. R times negative 7 is negative 7r. Then you have to distribute the negative 7 times both terms in the binomial. Negative 7 times r is negative 7r, and negative 7 times negative 7 is positive 49. Am I done? Why not? I have to combine like terms. So, r squared comes down. Negative 7r minus 7r combines to negative 14r, and then plus 49. And then I'm done. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay, number 3 is pretty much the same thing. It's just that the variable is on the right side of the binomial and the variable has a coefficient larger than 1. But it's not really going to change anything. 1 minus 4x squared literally means 1 minus 4x times 1 minus 4x. Once you write it out twice, you can see that you need to distribute it. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times negative 4x is negative 4x. And so now I'm done with the 1. I distributed it times each term in that binomial. Now it's time to distribute the negative 4x times each term in that binomial. So negative 4x times 1 is negative 4x, and negative 4x times negative 4x is positive 16x squared. Okay? Positive because it's a negative times a negative. 4 times 4 is 16, and x to the first times x to the first is x to the second because you add those exponents together. Now I need to combine like terms. These 2 in the middle can be combined because they're both x to the first power. So that'll become 1 minus 8x plus 16x squared. Okay, now, this is the right answer. Okay? However, you're always going to be expected to write the answers in standard form, which means the terms have to decrease from your highest exponent to your lowest exponent. See how that 16x squared, that's the highest exponent, the largest, and then the negative 8x is the next largest exponent because it's a 1, and then this positive 1 doesn't have an exponent, so it goes last. That's the way the answer would look on the test, like on the choices. That's what you would be looking for. So you just need to stay in the habit of rewriting in standard form. Tomorrow's a quiz. The test won't be until either next Friday or the beginning of the next week, like Tuesday. Alright, number 5. 1 plus 2r squared means 1 plus 2r times 1 plus 2r. So the first thing we need to do is distribute. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 2r is 2r. So now I'm finished with that 1. I distributed it times both terms of this binomial. Now I need to distribute this 2r times both terms. 2r times 1 is 2r, and 2r times 2r is what? Correct. 4r squared or 4r to the second. Now I need to combine like terms. So 1 plus 4r, because these 2 will combine, and then plus 4r squared. So this is the right answer, but once it's rewritten in standard form, what will it look like? Right. Standard forms means your exponents decrease 2, 1, and then no exponent at all. Okay, number 7. Oh, wait. Copy. Copy. Okay, number 7. Why were they not able to just simply write 3 plus 7x squared on this one? Right, they're not identical. This one's 3 plus 7x. This one's 3 minus 7x. You're only able to write it out once and square it if they're identical, like 1 minus 4x, 1 minus 4x, 1 plus 2r, 1 plus 2r. If they're different in any way, like the sign, you can't just square it because they're different. So 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times negative 7x is negative 21x. 7x times 3 is positive 21x, and then 7x times negative 7x is negative 49x squared. So when I combine like terms, what will this look like? Right, because what happened? The middle terms, those linear terms, canceled each other out. Negative 21x plus 21x is 0x. You don't have to write it. And then once you rearrange it into standard form, what will it look like? Correct. All right, any questions about that one? Okay, number 9. Again, we have very similar binomials, but they're not completely identical because they have opposite signs. So 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times negative 8x is negative 8x. Positive 8x times 1 is positive 8x. And 8x times negative 8x is negative 64x squared. So in the next step, when we combine these like terms, what will happen? Correct. And then when we rearrange it into standard form, the final answer will be? Right. Don't forget the negative, because that belongs to the 64, and then the 1 is a positive 1. So what conjecture can you make about multiplying two binomials that are almost the same except for their signs are opposite? What's going to happen every time? The middle terms are going to cancel each other out, right? That'll happen anytime you have the same binomial but just opposite signs. The middles will cancel out every time. Okay? Alright, I want you to take a couple of minutes and try the evens on page 5. And then after a couple of minutes, I'm just going to write the final answers for you to check your work. I'm not going to go over them in detail like I just did. Okay, I'm going to write the answers so that you can check and make sure you got them right. And then after I've written them all, you can ask me a question if you need to. That's what you should have got for number 2. Number 4. Alright, what's the answer? Well, I wrote it in standard form. Yes. Okay, number 6. You should have got 25x squared plus 40x plus 16. I mean, you probably had 16 plus 40x plus 25x squared to begin with, right? And then you had to rearrange it in standard form for the final answer. Number 8, 16x squared minus 9. And why is it only a binomial instead of a trinomial? Because everything up here is the same except for the sign, which means the middle cancels out. And then number 10, 25v squared plus 60v plus 36. Any questions? Okay, turn to page 6. Yeah, pages 6 and 7, then we'll be done. Yeah, but they're not hard, just watch. It's 11:27.
Okay, we gotta get this done. Shut up.
Pay attention.
Shut up. Shut in. You don't want the problem.
directions say find a polynomial expression for the area of the rectangle shown. Okay, so find area for a rectangle. Well, to be able to do that, you have to know the formula for the area of a rectangle. What's the formula? Length times width. Okay, well, didn't they give us the length and give us the width? So the area will be 4x minus 9 times x plus 3. And now that you've written it out, you should all know what to do with that. We distribute. 4x times x is 4x squared. 4x times 3 is 12x. Negative 9 times x is negative 9x. And negative 9 times 3 is negative 27. So now the final answer will be the area is 4x squared plus 3x minus 27. Do you think that I would have got this exact same answer had I labeled this as the length and this as the width? Yes. Okay, even if you'd have written x plus 3 here and 4x minus 9 over here, if you distribute everything right, you're still going to end up with this answer at the end. Okay, you take a second and try 2 and 3. Okay, let's look at them. Number 2. Who wants to give me the answer for number 2? Okay, Peyton. Correct. Because all you had to do was take your length and your width, and even if you labeled them opposite, it would be okay. 2x plus 5 times x minus 10. And then you just had to distribute it out and you would get this. Are there any questions? Do I need to go over that in more detail? You should have just got squared because look, 2x times x is 2x squared because that one has a 1 and that one has a 1. Okay, number 3. Did anybody get an answer? Okay, Benny. Okay. Very good. 4x squared minus 8x minus 12. Let's talk about how they got that. The first thing that you should go ahead and do is distribute this 4 to the x minus 3. And when you distribute 4 to x minus 3, it becomes what? 4x. Right. 4x minus 12 is what that becomes when you distribute it. So now you have a length of x plus 1 and a width of 4x minus 12. And to find the area, you multiply the length times the width. And so x times 4x is 4x squared. X times negative 12 is negative 12x. 1 times 4x is 4x. And 1 times negative 12 is negative 12. And so for your area, you would have 4x squared. Negative 12x plus 4x is negative 8x. And then minus 12. Okay, so the only difference between 3 and 1 and 2 was you had to distribute that 4 before you started. Okay, number 4. And we'll give people a second to catch up copying. Okay, number 4. Given the area of x squared plus 13x plus 40, find the missing side. So this time, what do we have going on? Right, they give us the area. This is the area. And they give us the length. We need to find the width. So how should we do that? Well, right. But the easiest way, you just are looking for two numbers that multiply to 40 and add to 13. Well, you already know one of those numbers is 8. So 8 times what is 40? 5. And is 8 plus 5 also 13? Yeah, so that's your other side, x plus 5. Now, number 5 is a little harder. Just play around with it and see what you can come up with. Does anybody want to give me an answer? Okay, Benny. Okay, Benny says it's 3x plus 6. Raise your hand if you agree.
No, it's 3x minus 6.
Right, it's minus.
Explain it. Some people don't get it.
Okay. Pay attention. attention. I don't know how y'all did it. I mean, did you just kind of guess?
What were they? Three.
Right. So you ended up with 3, and then what in the parentheses? Well, but it should be -2. Okay, but I'm going to just show you really quickly what I did. Now, you might be able to do it easier than this, but I'll just show you. Yeah. It's just minus. Well, yeah, either one. You would just have to look for which one of these was a choice. Okay, so watch. Up here, the reason this one was so easy, pay attention. The reason this one was so easy was because it was just 1x squared. Okay, so that makes it pretty easy because you just know x times x is x squared. But it becomes a little more difficult when there's a number out front greater than 1. So what I decided to do was take away that number from all 3 of them. If I take away 3, divide it out, 3 divided by 3 cancels, leaving x squared. 21x divided by 3 is 7x, and negative 54 divided by 3 is negative 18. Well, then I'm just looking for what would make that. So x times x would make the x squared, and then 9 plus what would give you a 7? Negative 2. And is it 9 times negative 2, negative 18? But then I have to consider that's the right factor, but I pulled that 3 out, so on my answer I got to put it back. And then you could also write that as 3x minus 6. Okay? All right, turn to the next page.
Alright, that page, guys. Woo!
Number 6. A garden is divided into sections. The number of tulips in each section depends on the number of sprinklers in that section. In a section filled with x sprinklers, there are 5x squared plus 10x pink tulips. And there are x plus 6 squared purple tulips. Which simplified expression represents the total number of pink and purple tulips in a section with x sprinklers? What does that word total tell you need to do? Add them. Okay, however, before we can add these, what needs to be done first? This side needs to be written out twice since it's squared and distributed, correct? So this side we're not going to touch yet. We're just going to keep writing it. But on this side, since it's x plus 6 squared, we need to write it out twice and distribute it. So that'll become x squared plus, so won't that become 12x? Look, 6x and 6x will become a 12x in the middle. I went ahead and combined like terms in the same step. And then plus 36. Now I can just combine it with like terms from over here. So what's a like term with 5x squared? X squared. So how many is that? 6x squared. Because that's like a 1, so 5 plus 1 is 6. What can be combined with 10x? So that would make how many x's? Right? And then plus 36 is the only constant, so that matches up with which choice? B. Right. Okay, now you try number 7. Quiet. Alright, a park is divided into sections. The number of playgrounds in each section depends on the number of flat land in that section. In a section with x flat land, there are x squared plus 47x. That should say something after it, but I'm not sure. In area A. And there are 2x plus 7 squared in area B. What simplified expression represents the total, which means we need to add them up? So over here we can't do anything yet. But over here, since it's squared, you can write that out twice and then distribute it. Well, let me write this first. When you distribute that, you'll get what? Right, it'll be 14x plus 14x, which is 28x.
Plus 49.
Right. So now we're ready to combine the like terms. Stop talking while I'm teaching.
4x plus
Look. 1x squared plus plus 4x squared is
5x.
5x squared.
Wait.
So that means it has to be D.
Woo!
And then 47x and 28x is 75x and then 49.
Nicole, put it up.
Good job.
Don't forget we have a quiz tomorrow. It will be 10 questions. It could be any questions off of pages 1 through 7.